right, hello and welcome to the agenda on Dominion Broadcast Group. I'm Chike Ubogu. On the agenda this morning, one man who is apparently in the news is Rotimi Amaechi, a former governor of Rivers State, who has come out to say that the state of politics in the country today would have been different if his class of governors were still in office. The former Minister of Transportation spoke in Abuja at the public presentation of Sule Lamido's autobiography titled Being True to Myself. Amaechi, who was the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum during Lamido's second term, said their era was defined by fearless opposition and commitment to federal government oversight. Amaechi, 2 months after President Tinubu declared emergency rule in Rivers State, described the president's action as a brazen attempt at power grab. He had also alleged that the president's declaration was a ploy to intimidate governors to support his re-election bid. Let us listen to Rotimi Amaechi now.
Former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Your Excellency, the President, represented by the Minister for Information, our dear Excellencies, the former Vice Presidents, distinguished former Senate Presidents that are here present, there are quite a number, former Speakers that are here present, Your Excellencies, the former Governors who are here present, our leaders who are here. The protocols are indeed too many that I will take your time. Indeed, because there is no time, what I wanted to say about him will be cut short. We were quite good friends when we were in government. We had our bad times that we disagreed. I made the mistake of assuming that he was as radical as I was. So he was one of the governors I clinged to when it came to radical decisions. And I will tell you one of the things. There were several things that happened in the course of our friendship. The last one, before we broke ranks, was that we agreed, all of us agreed to go against President Goodluck Jonathan. And we formed a committee, governors and all that. At the end of the day, he was to find a new party called SDP. We said if we go to the new party called SDP, we will lose the election. Let's hang on to this one called APC. He disagreed and he left us. That's the only place we disagreed. Now, I will tell you what happened again. One early morning I called him as a friend. I have been asked to be chairman of Governors Forum. He said, God forbid, you can never be chairman of Governors Forum. And I said, why? He said to me, you are too radical to be Governors Forum chairman. You can never be Governors Forum chairman. Again, I told him, I said, whether you like it or not, I will win. And I won. I became Governors Forum chairman. He indeed spoiled me a lot. He was one of the instruments that made me Governors Forum chairman a second term. And I will tell you, when there was huge disagreement about voting, he led us to go and vote. He didn't mind if that group walked away. If he didn't stand up to vote, maybe that day we would not have voted. Because he stood up to vote, the rest of us went ahead and voted. And the other people, led by Ababi, also joined to vote. At the end of the day, to their surprise, I won and became Governors Forum chairman a second time. The final one I will tell you, I visited him in his state. He asked me to come and commission projects, so I came. The School of Nursing you're talking about. And I repeat, I am here to see if any governor has surpassed your achievement in Jigawa. I've told you in private, and I have told my friends from Jigawa, maybe they will surpass you in future. For now, I doubt it any. So we went to commission projects. I was so scared of Boko Haram. And then I had a good security outfit in Rivers State. So I told them I'm going to Jigawa. They moved in an APC to Jigawa. They moved in 2 white men to Jigawa. They moved in some vehicles with security outfits, everything. You say, you're coming to Jigawa with this. Are you a president? I'm calling President Goodluck Jonathan to report you that you want to be president of Nigeria. I said, look, don't report me to the president. I'm just scared that they will finish us here. He said, nobody will finish. I said, I doubt you. This man took me in a crowd of over 1,000 persons, and we were walking. And I said to God, this man wants to kill me. Supposing there's a Boko Haram person here with a bomb that wants to kill all of us. He said, these are his people. At the end of the day, we commissioned the School of Nursing. The only thing I enjoyed that day was I was able to sleep in a quiet place in your guest house. And if I said I didn't enjoy it, and the rest, I visited you more than 3 or 4 times whenever you invited me. I thank you for that. I thank you for the fact that you spoiled a lot of my decisions as Governors Forum chairman. Because yes, you are radical. You thought you were not as radical as we were. But we discussed Nigeria in detail, and we thought we should move forward as a country. I asked you this morning, what is going on currently now in Nigerian politics? Could it have happened when we were governor? The answer is no. And you said no. We will confront the government. We will confront the president. You know that. That's how radical we were. That's how our governor's forum was. That's how determined we were to change things. But I don't have to be forgetting that. I wish you the best. I will make my contribution to you privately as two radicals. I shall announce it. No, they will think I have money. God bless you.
Former Governor Rotimi Amaechi there, and former Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amaechi there. Well, joining me this morning to discuss this and many more in the studio is Dominion Broadcast Group in-house analyst Charles Oludolapo Anjorin. It's good to have you this morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Chike. I am delighted once again to be here this morning.
All right, you have a former chairman of the Governors Forum, who sparingly comes out in public glare.
Yes.
But he attended Sule Lamido's autobiography, and eventually he made some categorical statements. And one of those statements he made, he said, and referring to Mr. President, saying, Mr. President declaring state of emergency in Rivers State, his action is a brazen attempt at power grab. That's how he described the action of Mr. President. And he also alleged the president's declaration as a ploy to intimidate governors to support his re-election bid. That's how Rotimi Amaechi put it. You know, once in a while when he comes out to public and then he makes a statement, it's always a punchline and always a talking point, especially in the media space.
Yeah, Rotimi Amaechi is fearless. When you look at his antecedents in government, you found out that he single-handedly, fought a sitting president when he was governor of Rivers State. So if he had made this kind of statement, I think he's right, because declaring state of emergency in Rivers State, is unknown to the law, most especially when we have precedents that rejected this in the polity. We have the case of Plateau. You also have Ekiti. So at the moment, the case is sub judice. The PDP governors, they are in the Supreme Court, trying to get the Supreme Court to interpret the Constitution as regards this. So it remains to be seen whether the Supreme Court will rule against its own self. It's funny, right?
If the Supreme Court rule against his own self,
yes,
where a doctor cannot cure himself.
Well,
but let's see how
it goes.
Well, as he talked about the class of governors in the Governors Forum,
yes,
where they were so fierce with being in the opposition, how they could confront the malady in the polity, unlike what we have today. Well, if you want to do a comparison,
okay,
would you say he's right on that?
Yeah, I think he's right. He's spot on that. When you look at that class of PDP governor, or let me just say the People's Democratic Party as a whole, then when they were still alive and kicking.
Are they dead now?
They are almost dying.
Okay.
Yes, they are almost dying.
They still exist?
Yes, they still exist. You look at that party, PDP back then was a party who does not build their own power base around an individual. There are so many power bases inside the People's Democratic Party, such that when you want to carry out certain decision or certain policy, a riffraff in Bere can kick and say no. And the party, the echelons at the top of the pyramid at the party would actually listen. Back then, PDP has a culture whereby when they organize their national working committee, that's when you have the who and who in the party when they gather. You also have people at the bottom space of the ladder. They coalesce together at the Wadata Plaza. They sit down the president in the in their midst. The president is stripped off of their title. I knew this because Sule Lamido, who Rotimi Amaechi happened, to grace the occasion for his autobiography, told me this personally. He said, during the Obasanjo era, he said they would invite the president into their midst. You have House of Assembly members, you have National Assembly members, you have who is who, and they would dress down the president. You have the power brokers. Fortunately, in this incident, they had Ibrahim Babangida, Abdulsalami Abubakar, T.Y. Danjuma in one of these meetings, and they have the 36 state governors in the same room with former President Obasanjo, and they tongue-lashed OBJ for his involvement in decimating the people of Odi village. In fact, he said the late Alamisia and OBJ, they had to separate them. They were about, boxing
going
physical,
okay.
Calling themselves unprintable names. The retired generals had to take the side of their own, while the Democrats, civilians, had to take the side of Alamisia.
Did Alamisia eventually pay for that action?
Well, it's not the context of this.
Maybe.
Yes, it's not the context.
Okay, but let's go back. Let's go back
of this discourse.
Let's go back.
But they settled. They made Obasanjo realize his mistakes. So if Rotimi Amaechi is saying that the class of governor back then would confront the president, at least with that personal testimony from Sule Lamido, I think he's spot on, he's correct.
Okay, so they had fearless.
They were fearless.
The ones today, they are
and
governors.
do you know why?
I
know. Hold on. Another example to actually consolidate what I've just said is, you could, if you cast your mind back, recall back to when the governors actually sued the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, to court on the basis of sharing the excess crude oil accounts. It shows how fearless they were. You cannot try that with the former president in power, President Muhammadu Buhari. You dare not question him. Even with this current administration, the current sitting president, he has a tag of Baba Sokwe, nobody can challenge him. So when you look at the difference between the parties that we have had between 1999 and this moment, that's PDP and APC, even though they are the same fingers from the same leprous hands, you can still draw a little bit of parallel between those two parties. So it's very, very unfortunate that, governors in this administration, they are too subservient. Nobody is coming out to actually tell the truth. Even up to the National Assembly level, you find out that the National Assembly has become an appendage of the executive arm of government. Meanwhile, when PDP was kicking and when they were actually alive, the president dare not tell the National Assembly what he has to do. Take as an instance, when they wanted to, choose their leadership before Aminu Tambuwal became the speaker, the president had his own candidates. They went against the president's candidates and they voted Tambuwal en masse. The only time that kind of happened was during the 7th Assembly, when they wanted to inaugurate their leaders. It was Bukola Saraki that actually altered that permutation. He went against the party, and because he was coming from a political party whereby there is freedom of choice, there's freedom of association, nobody is loading anything against them. He was able to, do his political schemes, and he emerged as the Senate president. Look at what happened in the 8th Assembly. They worked against any such machinations, and they went directly and said, Ahmed Lawan is our man. It was an instruction that was passed down to them. So you can see the subtle differences between the two parties. So Rotimi Amaechi is actually spot on, at least with examples in the polity.
Well,
can serve as an
just to get make some things right, the PDP is still alive. They might not just be well at the moment. They might be ill, but they're still alive.
They are still alive.
All right, but they will get over the illness.
They are alive, but they are not alive.
No, they are alive. They're just ill. Let's use it that way. They are alive but ill, but maybe could resuscitate themselves through
they are the life support.
No, maybe through the right medication, they could resuscitate themselves.
Okay.
All right, that's for the PDP. All right, let's get back to the discussion. The House of Representatives has rejected a bill seeking to entrench the principle of national presidency among Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones. The bill, sponsored by Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu, proposed an amendment to the 1999 Constitution to mandate the rotation of the offices of President and Vice President among the North Central, Northwest, Northeast, Southwest, Southeast, and South-South zones. The bill, titled "A Bill for an Act to Alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria," Cap C-23 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2024, to provide for the principle of rotation of the offices of the President and Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria among the 6 geopolitical zones of the country and for related matters. The proposal was struck out during plenary and after a heated debate presided over by Kalu. Speaking against the bill, Honorable Aliyu Madaki of the NNPP from Kano State argued that the federal character principle already ensures equitable representation, stressing that zoning should be left to the political parties and the electorate, not enshrined in the Constitution. Similarly, Sada Soli of the All Progressives Congress from Katsina State warned that a constitutional provision for zoning could undermine meritocracy and national unity. Also, Bello El Rufai of the All Progressives Congress from Kaduna State also cautioned that the move would inflame ethnic and regional tensions in an already polarized nation. However, Representative Ali Issa of the People's Democratic Party from Gombe State supported the bill, arguing that it would promote inclusion and a sense of belonging among all regions. Let's take a listen to what transpired on the floor of the House of Representatives during plenary.
Previous legislator just stated, Nigeria has over 400 different ethnicities. According to some studies, even more. My issue with this is the constitutional aspect. I think once eligible, regardless of the zone you are from, you are entitled to run for president if you feel qualified, or vice president. That's point one. So does that infringe on the constitutional right of a candidate or a citizen to participate in a democracy? Now, Mr. Speaker, this is also important because Honorable Clement's point about tackling an injustice is true. It is quite clear to those that want to know that as long as certain people from certain area in this country do not have the equal opportunity or do not feel what it is to be president, there will continue to be this mistrust and a sense of injustice. That is without a doubt. And while democracy is fair, it's simply the best option we have, but not the fairest. So there are certain regions that by population are at an advantage. So why not asking we discard this? I think it needs to take a lot of introspection. Maya Bon over there made a point. If you take this to the North Central, sir, who will it be for? Is it the Nupe people, the brilliant Ibibio people, the Igala people? In my little experience in Nigeria, whenever you do this, every tribe in every state will also come out and say it's their turn. Merit prevails, sir. I think part of the reason why this sense of injustice continues to go on is because of the failure of governance, the failure of social equity. So, Mr. Speaker, I implore that we do not set a dangerous precedent and put it in the Constitution without due diligence, which I'm sure the Constitutional Review Committee will do so. But while it tackles injustice, I must agree with the previous speaker. This could really set us back. And finally, unfortunately, we are but human beings. What happens in the event of death? May God bless the soul of President Umar Musa Yar'Adua, but I guess he passed away at a time when it was, quote unquote, the time of the North. And the vice president comes in. Is it actually fair to ask a vice president to step down in the event of the unfortunate occurring? I think we should still adhere to good governance and provide our people.
Honorable
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Oshoba.
My contribution on this bill. We are under democracy. And democracy, in my own opinion, is about healthy competition. We should not please allow sentiment to be part of the process of how we govern the country. By the time we start to include the clauses of zoning, that means at a point in time, every part of this country will start to look at it that, look, it is either me or you, or not you or not me. Sir, Mr. Speaker, sir, this is Nigeria that belongs to everybody. Everybody should be given the right to stand and contest for this office of the president at any point in time.
Rotation of offices of the president and the vice president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria among 6 geopolitical zones of the country, namely North Central, Northeast, Northwest, Southeast, South-South, Southwest, and for other related matters. Mr. Speaker, my contribution to this issue is to the fact that in Nigeria, most often when we are talking of hiring people, we talked about competence. And I think this issue we are trying to bring here has been adequately covered by our Constitution. And we have a commission called the Federal Character Commission that was created primarily to take care of every zone of the Federation. And when we are talking of giving people job to do, we are looking at competence. We are looking at ability. I don't know why. Indirectly, it's like in every political parties, there is an arrangement that North will do this term, the South will do this term. So I believe this is something that we must not put in our Constitution. We should allow it as it is. That is my view, Mr. Speaker.
Welcome back. That's what transpired on the floor of the House of Representatives. Well, you call it the Green Chamber. Yes, when the debate on rotational presidency came up. Dolapo, rotational presidency, what's your take on that?
It's a double-edged sword for me, but I think I lean towards rotational presidency. I think it was in 2024, last year, that the former Vice President of Nigeria, Atiku Abubakar, actually, broached this idea forward. This idea has actually been on the front burner for quite a number of years, but I think, just like they say, ideas, most times do not die, and it has found its way into the Green Chambers, and it's being debated on at the moment. I think this is what we need at this particular point in time in our polity, because when you look at it, there is a lot of imbalance, there's a lot of grievances, there's a lot of exclusion. You look at the Southeast as a region, at least between the period of 1999 and 2025, that region has been excluded, from governance in terms of, presidency. The Southwest has had its turn. The Southwest is currently doing 10 years right now and might do more than 10 years in power You have the South-South, they've had 6 years. You go to the Northwest, you know, they've had 10 years. You go to the North Central, they've not had any shot at the presidency. You go to the Northeast, they've not had any shot at the presidency. It's not as if rotational presidency would cure our complex issue, but in a way, we have been, the informal rotation in the polity has been working. So I see no reason if we introduce a rotational presidency and a 6-year term, you know, to actually create a balance.
A single term of 6 years?
6 years, yes.
Okay, so this is it now. The question I would love to pose now is, this issue of rotational presidency, ab initio, had to be, or used to be, a party arrangement.
Arrangement, yes.
Because according to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Constitution recognizes only Northern Nigeria and Southern Nigeria. So, whether it goes to Southwest, Northeast, South, whatever, it is the prerogative of the political party. So, the Deputy Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives, Kalu, seemed to want to make it a law now by making sure it is imbibed in the Constitution. Do you think if it had passed through, this would have given us a geopolitical zones embedded in the Constitution? Because as it stands, the geopolitical zones are not embedded in the Constitution. 1999 has amended. Now, if it had happened and we have the geopolitical zones, would you say it would be a move, a driving force to leading us to a regional system of government?
It's not going to ride us through a regional system of government per se. I think what you are trying to say, if I get you right, is that if this bill has actually scaled,
it had scaled
to the final reading, in a way, because you are trying to talk about restructuring. Maybe. I think it will only be in line with political restructuring. What about economic restructuring? What about social restructuring?
But you have to start from somewhere.
But they cannot exist on its own. So
no,
it has to
if you restructure the country politically,
yes,
and then you have a system that is working. Some would tell you that they believe other forms of restructuring.
Yeah, then we are talking about true federalism. Yeah, actual federalism.
Is there a false federalism?
Yes, there's a false federalism.
I just believe federalism is federalism.
No. There's what we call quasi-federalism.
Okay,
and
the quasi one.
Yes, it's exactly what we are practicing at the moment in Nigeria. So we are not practicing true federalism. But that's besides the point. You see, the dichotomy between the North and the South, we've operated it before. I would take you back to 1979. The 1979 era, you had the North and South. That was why in the South was given the position of the Vice President, we were given the position of the Senate President, and we were given the position of the National Party Chairman, while the North retained the presidency. And the reason why there was the South got vice presidency was because there's some power brokers that insisted, you know, outside of the North, that Shagari should, Ekwueme, you know, should get the position. Now, fast forward to 1983, what happened? The North splitted. The minority groups in the North saw that if we stick to these arrangements, the Northwest has the numbers. They will keep dominating. And there was agitation. The North Central agitated, the Northeast agitated, and before the military incursion, you know, thwarted that republic. Now you go to, we fast forward down to 1999. The presidency is said to have been zoned to the South. Now, the party that came to power in 1999 was the People's Democratic Party. The People's Democratic Party did not officially zone the presidency to any region. And that's the reason why you saw the likes of Abubakar Remi, they contested the election. Alex Ekwueme resigned his position as the chairman of G34 that became the PDP, and Solomon Lat, you know, took over to contest the presidential elections. You have Philip Asiodu, you have Francis Ella, you have Jim Nwobodo, you have Douglas.
These are Southerners.
Yeah, these are Southerners. You also have a Northerner amongst them that contested the presidential elections. In fact, the PDP back then did not officially ask Abubakar Arimi to step down. It was the power brokers, Ibrahim Babangida and co., that prevailed upon Abubakar Arimi to step down for Obasanjo. Don't forget that in 1999, the PDM was the major political group inside the PDP, and they were about to, make their decision on the candidate to support when Aliyu Gusau brought a message from the power brokers, and they had to suspend that meeting for 1 week. That was when they drafted OBJ into the electoral
from prison to the villa.
Yes, to the villa, and that was why they got PDM to actually support OBJ. Now, in 2003, you had Barnabas Gimade, you had Alex Ekwueme. Before I get to this, Alex Ekwueme thought he was going to be the president because the idea was that he was going to complete 1983. If they had zeroed in on that, he would have had that advantage. So there was no official position. In 2003, you have Gimade, you have Alex Ekwueme, you have Abubakar Arimi, who contested against OBJ again. The PDP back then did not take an official position of where they have zoned the presidency to. OBJ won. As of 2007, OBJ himself had become a power broker himself. He was the one that led the caucuses, to support Umar Musa Yar'Adua, and he prevailed on Donald Duke and James Ibori to step down at the party primaries in favor of Umar Musa Yar'Adua. So you can see the pattern. They didn't take any official position, but it's an unofficial position in an informal pattern. The only time when it feels like okay, it looks like we want to take our presidency to this zone was in 2015, when President Goodluck Jonathan wanted to become the president. If they printed a set of form, the party rejected it. Now, at the national convention, you find out that Goodluck Jonathan was firing one chairman from one chairman to the other before he found Adamu Muazu, who was pliable to do his bidding. Even at that, people like Jelili Tafawa Balewa that bought form, and there's this woman, I've forgotten her full name now, Abiola something. I've forgotten her name. Maybe in the course of I would remember. They had to step down for Goodluck Jonathan. So you see that this unofficial zoning of presidency to one region of the country, fine, it has caused a lot of ruckus. It's causing a lot of chaos and a lot of brickbats between different ethnic groups. If Yar'Adua had not died, someone like Goodluck Jonathan would not have the chance to have become the Nigerian president. So now, if we bring in rotational presidency, it doesn't solve the real complex issues that we have in Nigeria. Politically, it solves the issue of, okay, it's the turn of the Southwest. Now, you now have to battle hard. Is it Oyo State, Ogun State, Ondo State, or Ekiti State that will produce the president?
Well,
don't forget that there are also micro-ethnic groups in different regions. So it becomes another level of ethnic
bigotry.
Yes,
okay.
Within regions.
Well, you are in dissonance. You're not in concurrence at this time, but we just need to move on now. We'll go on this break, and when we come back, a very short one, when we come back, we'll talk the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, what is happening there, and Oloyede cried. back from that break. Well, the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, has stated that the high failure, or he stated earlier this year, last month, that the high failure in the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculations examination is proof that anti-malpractice measures are working effectively, particularly within the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board system. His comments came in the wake of widespread concerns following JAMB's release of data showing that out of 1,955,069 candidates who sat for the examination, only about 420,000 scored above 200. More than 78% failed to meet the 200-mark threshold. Alausa attributed the poor performance to reduced cheating due to JAMB's stringent security protocols. Let's listen to Alausa this morning, briefly.
Proper way. JAMB conducts its exam using computer-based testing. They've put in so much security in place that fraud or cheating has been completely eliminated. Now, we don't have the same in other exams like WAEC and NECO. And that's why, if you followed us at the Ministry of Education, immediately after we got in there, well over 6 months ago, we did a complete diagnostic of our exams, the way exams are conducted in the country. I set up a committee to look into it, and I'm getting the result of the committee, probably the report from the committee in the next few days. But basically, what we need to do is to institute computer-based testing for WAEC and NECO, as well as NABTEC and MBARS exams. And I'm happy to report to the nation that by November of this year, WAEC and NECO will migrate their exams to computer-based testing. We have to use technology to fight this fraud. We have a lot of centers called miracle centers. It's not acceptable. So what you're seeing now, people cheat to the secondary school exam system, WAEC and NECO, and then they now go to...
All right, Alausa there. Well, will Alausa chew his words again? All right. Let me give you a story. The family of a 19-year-old Timileyin Faith Okpe Shusi is in mourning after the teenager died by suicide following her disappointment over a low score in the 2025 Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. Well, it was learnt that Okpe Shusi ingested rodent poison on Monday after scoring 190 in the recently released results. Okpe Shusi, who hailed from Abeokuta but resided in Odogunya, Ikorodu, Lagos State, with her older sibling, was described by neighbors as gentle and humble. Sources disclosed that she had applied to study microbiology and had also taken the examination last year, scoring higher than this year. She said her result last year was better than this year's. One of her close allies told people over the phone and journalists this situation. However, neighbors became alarmed when Okpe Shusi asked for palm oil at her sister's office to relieve the pain caused by something she had ingested at home. Recognizing the severity of the situation, her sister raised the alarm, attracting sympathizers to the scene. And on the way to the hospital, Okpe Shusi reportedly confessed to taking poison before proceeding to her sister's office. Tragically, she died at a hospital in Odogunyo, Ikorodu. However, in a shocking twist, 30 minutes after her death, Okpe Shusi received a provisional admission notification via her Gmail account. Her parents arrived in Ikorodu upon hearing the news and took her body back to Abeokuta for burial. In a twist of events, after Okpe Shusi's death, what then happened? The Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board had admitted to a technical error that compromised the integrity of the results from the 2025 tertiary matriculation examinations in 157 centers. Isiaku Oloyede, JAMB registrar, during a press conference in Abuja yesterday, that's Wednesday, said the results of 379,997 candidates were affected. He said the board discovered discrepancies linked to faulty server updates in its Lagos and Southeast zones, which led to the failure to upload candidates' responses during the first 3 days of the examination. Let's get to listen to Isiaku Oloyede now on the program.
Despite being able to identify the source of the problem and the affected centers, we are conscious of the painful damage it has inflicted on the reputation of JAMB. As registrar of JAMB, I hold myself personally responsible including for the negligence of the service provider and I unreservedly apologize for it. And the trauma it has affected Nigerians to, directly or indirectly. Yes. Once again, we apologize and assure you that this incident represents a significant setback for the board's reputation.
Welcome back. And Isiaku Oloyede cried, and the people clapped for crying. Dolapo Anjorin, the story of the young girl who failed, however, took poison, took her life, and days after, the institution has admitted to making errors. Who will bring back the life of that young girl? Who will heal the depressed students that failed the exams, allegedly? And then Oloyede cried in front of the crowd. But his people were applauding his cry. Has JAMB failed its candidates?
Yes, of course. They have failed the teaming Nigerian students that sat for the 2025 JAMB matriculation examination. This is what incompetence does. Like I always say, a lot of people believe corruption is the problem. I usually posit that incompetence is worse than corruption. The incompetence of an institution has caused the tragic death of an innocent lady. She's
the one that is being reported now.
Yes.
How about many others that we don't know about?
That we don't know about. So when you look at it, it's just an unfortunate thing. Yes, the registrar of JAMB has come out to take full responsibility. This is very, very uncandid, of any leader in our society. They didn't try to, sweep it under the carpet. They have admitted their errors, which is very, very unfortunate. It looks to me like it's a human error. When you have a system that is not waterproof, You know, it's bound to bleed occurrences like this. The question is, was there no pre-testing of these processes?
Of the devices,
of the devices,
processes.
yes,
Yeah.
before they actually, you know, fix the date and ask students, you know, to come out of their homes to come and write the exams.
Our time is fast spent. We need to leave.
Yeah, okay. Beyond that, beyond the technical glitches also, the rot in the system is actually deeper. For centers who did not experience the technical glitch, we still have 78% failure rates, you know, in some of those centers. You know, this tells you something, that we have a broken curriculum in our schools. A lot of work needs to be done. Government needs to, you know, invest in education. According to UNESCO, UNESCO said over 60% of schools in Nigeria today does not have qualified math teachers. You can see where the problem also lies also.
Well,
unfortunately, our time is fast spent. It will not allow me to actually
we need to go now. We need to go now. And thank you for joining us this morning, dear listener and viewer. We can keep the conversation going. Well, before then, Oloyede cried, but his people applauded him. Do follow us on our social media platforms. Our handles on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok is at Dominion Broadcast. And on the app X is at Dominion Cast. My name is Chike Ubogu. Do have a great day and bye for now.